Have you guys ever met anyone who's done something dumb enough, like hanging off the edge of a cliff? We've all seen those videos and those photos of thrill seekers, daredevils, and adrenaline junkies. Well, I know someone kind of like that, and I've even done something kind of like that. Now, I wouldn't consider myself a daredevil or, someone who does anything stupid, but I do have this memory, and it's one of my favorite memories that I've ever had. Now, some of you remember from Luanda's introductory speech that I spent my sophomore year studying in Lausanne, Switzerland. Now, this was my first time out of the country, and so I was really nervous. In high school, I was a very routine person, and so pursuing big adventures was something very outside my comfort zone. But this was something new, and I wanted to do it. So, what better way to overcome your fears than to confront them? So, two of my friends and I, we decided to go to Norway the very first weekend to get some traveling done. Now, it was two of my best friends and another guy that I had never met before. Now, we flew into a city called Bergen in Norway, and when we were there, we rented a car. And we took that car and we drove about 200 kilometers to a small town called Oda. And this was one of the most memorable drives of my life. Norway is a beautiful country full of lush green hills and waterfalls like every mile. We would stop along the way, pull over, and just go take photos and take random hikes because it was so cool. Along the drive too, we also took our car onto a boat which went across a lake. Now that was new to me because typically in the United States, we just have bridges when we want to go over water, so that was really fun. Now there were a lot of small moments on this trip that I took away. And these small moments are what made this overall experience so memorable. Now when we got to the town of Oda, we spent the night. And the main reason we went to Norway is we had a big hike ahead of us, a very famous hike called Trolltunga. And it's a 30-kilometer hike, and it goes up into the mountains. And the reason it's so famous is because Trolltunga is short for Trollstone. And it's this rock that jets out over a cliff. And ever since about 2016 or so, Norway gets anywhere from 400,000 to 500,000 tourists just to come do this hike. So we woke up at about 4:30 in the morning because we wanted to beat the rush. Now luckily, our host had a local parking pass, so we were able to bypass 1,000 meters of elevation, which is about 3,300 feet right off the bat. Now, we went ahead and we started hiking, and thank goodness we were all avid hikers, so we did this thing pretty quickly. Now, along the way, we got to pass and talk to quite a few people from around the world. And one of the notable people we got to pass by, I didn't actually get to talk to him, but we passed by a group, and there was a boy who was no older than 16 years old. But he stuck out to me because he had red hair just like me. And he was the first kid in Europe I had seen with red hair. And as I was walking by him, I stopped, I looked at him, and I gave him a smile. And we just had this connection without any words being spoken. And internally I was thinking, you and me, we're not so different. And I went on my way. Eventually we made it to the halfway point where the Troll's Tongue was. And for the first time in my life, I found myself actually speechless. I tried to say things, but no words would come to my mouth. I even felt tears coming to my eyes. After about 20 minutes waiting in line, I finally got my turn to go out and walk out onto the rock. Now, I sat down and I dangled my feet over the edge and I looked down. 3,600 feet in the air. Luckily, I'm not a klutz and I didn't fall off and I didn't trip on my way back. So spoiler alert, I made it out alive. But ever since then, I've been afraid of heights. Now, this entire hike, there were just these little moments all throughout that made it such an amazing experience. And I mentioned before, this was my favorite memory ever. So it went perfectly, right? Not quite. You see, remember how I told you I went with two of my best friends and someone I didn't know? That guy turned out to be kind of a wild card. Now, he decided to wear ski pants for our 30-kilometer hike. Now, for those of you who have never worn ski pants, they're very tubular, So there's not a lot of space in between your legs. Now they're also made out of a material that's kind of like nylon, polyester, so it makes this sound when you walk. And it sounds a little something like this. Can you imagine that for 30 kilometers? We were going insane. We were about to push him off the cliff. Now, as frustrating as that was, I look back and that was one of the funniest things from the trip. And despite me wanting to strangle that kid, it's one of the most memorable but minor experiences of that entire time. Now, this is significant to me because a lot of the small experiences that I was able to gain on this trip taught me a lot about who I was and how the small experiences in my life have helped drive my values, my drive, and my ambition. Now, since then, I've always had this adventurous spirit about me. I've tried to break free of my routine self that I was in high school, and I try to do more adventures, whether it's going out to the mountains, going to a new country, or even just a drive down PCH with a friend, and creating a new adventure and trying to learn more about other people. As John Muir once said, "The mountains are calling, and I must go. And to the mountains I go, and adventures they await." Thank you.